For it. All right, Ryan, here we go, man.
All the important stuff, obviously.
Let's get the latest on the New York Giants with our buddy Jordan Raanan of NJ.com. He's the best. He knows his stuff. And Raanan, what are you hearing around the organization in regards to Tom Coughlin? What's the latest as the Giants lose to the Jacksonville stinking Jaguars by 1 point over the weekend? What's the rumblings about Tom Coughlin at this point, Jordan?
Steve Tisch yesterday donating some money, which is a good thing, for high school football players and stuff. So he's out there and he says, we'll evaluate it after the Super Bowl. And, everyone's eyes popped open. After the Super Bowl, that would be basically early February. You can't be evaluating what you're going to do with your coach in early February. So the Giants came back real quick. We're like, no, he misspoke. So I think you kind of realize where Steve Tisch is on this subject. He spends most of his time in Hollywood and is not really involved in the day-to-day operations. But, they loop him in on the big decisions. But, it's not at the forefront of Steve Tisch's mind. It is at the forefront of John Mara's mind right now, though, what to do with this organization. He's the one who handles the day-to-day. And what you see right now is a team in an absolute free fall, and they're pretty embarrassed by the results of what they've seen, and they're going to do a thorough evaluation. But I think with Tom Coughlin right now, it's they play it close to the vest on this one. You're not going to hear much from it. It's because it's from John Mara, and that's pretty much the only person. And he has already declined the opportunity to talk about where this organization stands in that regard. So they're going to let him dangle out there. The fact that they let him dangle out there, I think, speaks volumes for itself.
Is there any chance that Coughlin keeps this job?
At 3-13 or 4-12 or even 5-11, it's kind of hard for me to see that happening. Unless the only way I see it happening is if they're 100% intent on Ben McAdoo being the coach of this future, which I don't think they're sold on at this point. I think they've seen some promising things from him, but he's a first-year coordinator. He has made some mistakes. He's learning on the job. It would be a pretty big jump to throw him into that spot right now. So, that's really the only way I think that they could come to that conclusion, and I'm not sure that they're there yet.
Jordan Raanan of NJ.com. Jordan, you have become close with Tom Coughlin in the way that you talk to him every single day since covering the Giants. When you talk to this man, when you look in this guy's eyes, do you believe there's any chance that Tom Coughlin would step down from this position?
Well, let me say this. You say talk, you use that word loosely. He yells at me every day. I think that's the relationship that we have.
I think it's a lovingly yell at this point.
Right, it's like a grandpa thing.
It's pretty passionate, yeah.
No, I don't think there's any love there. But look, when it comes down to it, yes, Tom Coughlin would step down because look, there's money involved. I mean, there's money involved here, big money involved here. That's $6-7 million for next year. Everyone's got to be careful the way they walk here and what they do if it's going to end. Nobody's going to put that money in jeopardy by just saying, sticking up his middle finger and saying, I'm out of here or anything like that. It's got to be a mutual thing where this money is involved. So, Tom Coughlin is not, he's a man of principle, but he's also not going to just dump $7 million, because the Giants want him out or, they're trying to push him out and he had enough of it. So, I could see it being an orchestrated retirement a la Kevin Gilbride. I think that's probably the way it would go when it does go down.
Now, you had mentioned, the organization and how much they like Ben McAdoo. Is there a chance, is there any way Coughlin goes and McAdoo somehow is kept on board?
Wow, that's a big question. There's a lot of moving parts that go into that. If you hire a new coach who happens to be a defensive coach and that's his specialty, they will definitely look. I think definitely looking at keeping Ben McAdoo is an option. I think the new coach, if there is one here, will have that option of saying, hey, you get to hire your own staff. Nobody's going to come here and be restricted by the staff that he has. So, but if he's a defensive guy, his most important hire is going to be his offensive coordinator. Which is why that hire is so vital to the head coach's success, to the opposite side of the ball, that coordinator. So it'll be up to the new head coach when the time comes, and there is one. I don't think the Giants will force it down anyone's throat. They can't do that. It won't be a bad spot to put a new head coach. I don't think anyone would agree to that.
Jordan Raanan of NJ.com. It's the most fascinating factor of this whole head coaching idea, because if you fire Tom Coughlin and then you don't rehire Ben McAdoo, if he some way gets off this staff, you're talking about a team that had the same offense for over a decade who is now going to change offenses 3 times in 3 years. Is there any way that they like Ben McAdoo enough, Jordan, to go, you know what, you're young, you're only 37, you're going to be 38 when you're the head coach. Let's give you a little more time as a coordinator, but we love you. We want to keep you on the staff. Kind of like what Jerry Jones did with Jason Garrett in Dallas, just kept him along year after year, eventually made him the head coach. And then you would have to hire, like to your point, you would have to hire the head coach based off of the weaknesses of your offensive coordinator. So you would have to hire a defensive-minded coach. I mean, that factor by itself, doesn't that make this entire thing so fascinating?
Yeah, it does. But, that's just a move you can't make. If you're going to go and make a change with Tom Coughlin, you got to get a head coach who you think is the head coach for the future,
Okay.
who you think is your head coach for the next 15 years, or 10 years at least. The organization I first think of when I think of like what the Giants would do in this situation, you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's an organization that they respect and they look at closely. They hired Mike Tomlin, who came out of nobody thought Mike Tomlin really was going to be the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's the kind of hire I would expect John Mara to want to make. I would consider Ben McAdoo in that category. If
Coughlin is gone, McAdoo is gone, is Eli gone?
Again, who is the new coach? And
wow.
I think you could also use Eli as that bridge. As much as I think it would befit them to really just start over here, especially if they have a top 5, 6, 7 pick and they have a shot at the top quarterback and they think that guy's a franchise quarterback, and it really doesn't have anything to do with what Eli Manning has done in the past or is as a player. It's just logic of when you decide to rebuild, you're not going to do it with a 34, 35-year-old quarterback. You're not going to do it with a 68, 69-year-old head coach. It's just not the way you conduct business in this league, or at least it's not the way to properly conduct business in this league. They tried to slap it together once more here this year, get one more run together. It didn't work. It was an utter disaster. Look at the results. In my opinion, it's time to scrap it and start over and really rebuild this.
Jordan Raanan of NJ.com, and Levack wants to go through. He did some research, and all the injuries that the Giants have had this year, he can field a pretty damn good team with just the injured reserve. Check this out.
Yeah, I mean, just like your wide receiver core, Victor Cruz, Odell Beckham Jr. missed a handful of games, Jarrell Jernigan, your secondary, Prince Amukamara, Walter Thurman, Tremaine McBride, your linebacker core, Beeson, Williams, Paysinger. I mean, the line now, Snyder, Swartz, Pugh, Jennings, and Wilson in your backfield. Is that going to be the kind of thing that weighs heavily enough to save some jobs?
Yeah, we went through that last year. John Mara stood up there, said they lost, they were the most injured team. To sit there and do that 2 years in a row, I think is a mistake. I think they need to like I said, when you're looking to rebuild, they did it this year. They did it through free agency. They scrapped it together. That means you're signing 28, 29-year-old guys, 27, 28, 29-year-old guys on their second contract when you do that through free agency. The more wear and tear they have, I think the more likely they are to be injured. We saw that this year. Yes, some of it is freak, but you look around, Jeff Schwartz has basically been unable to play this year. Rashad Jennings missed a bunch of games. Who knows what he might miss some more. So this, Walter Thurman also, not that these guys are old, but when you have more wear and tear, I think you're more likely to have these injuries. And, so the age thing is something they have to do. They're going to have to rebuild this from the bottom. They're going to have to get more building block pieces. Look, I think these last 2 drafts, they have collected those pieces, and those are the guys that they really need to build around. They probably need one more round of that. I mean, you look around the league and the teams that have won the Super Bowl championship, that's how they've done it. It's never been, let's go get 10 guys in free agency. They tried to, like I said, they tried to slap it together for one more year, and it backfired badly on them.
Jordan Raanan of NJ.com. Follow him on Twitter at Jordan Raanan. Always has the scoop. Jordan, man, appreciate your time today, dude.
Hey, anytime, guys.